Am I the a-hole for telling my nephew that his deceased mother was my ex-wife? This is a family conflict that came up recently. I, male 46, used to work in the military, so I was away from home most of the time. When my then only son was 3 years old, I discovered by accident that he wasn't mine. He was my older brother's. It was the most devastating time in my life, aside from what I was dealing with. My ex-wife and I ended up divorcing, and I cut contact with my brother for years. I was done with him, even after my ex-wife, who he married the same year of the divorce, died suddenly. My parents thought my ex's death was supposed to make everything okay, as they claimed she was the one who drove a wedge between me and my brother, but I kept my distance. My nephew started reaching out to me, and we began seeing each other more often when he was around 15. He has always been told that the fight between me and my brother was about business. My parents threatened to disown me if I told my nephew that his mother was my ex, and that I should leave it alone. Which I did, since they said that if they had to choose, they'd pick their nephew/grandson. My nephew tried to get me to meet my brother so we could talk, since my brother welcomed the idea, but I refused. I made it clear to him that he needed to stop forcing a reunion, and he respected my wishes. He's now 21, and is getting married in November. He sent an invitation, which I declined and returned right away. He called to ask why, and I said no contact with his dad, so I won't come since he will be there. My nephew refused to accept that and came over and started criticizing me, saying I'm being unnecessarily bitter and resentful towards his apologetic dad over some business, and said he cannot believe how much hate and grudge I keep inside me against his dad. Then he said I either try to work things out with his dad or he will not be seeing me again. I felt hesitant at first, but then told him his dad and I don't have a usual beef, and that his mother was my ex-wife who his dad messed around with while I was in the military. My nephew denied it, saying his dad and grandparents never told him that. He thought I was lying, till I showed him enough proof to get him to change his tone. He left in a hurry and was enraged. I later found out via my parents that my nephew canceled all my family's wedding invitations, put the wedding on hold, and disappeared after he had a huge argument with them and disowned his dad. My father was very sick after this incident, and my entire family keep harassing me saying I ruined everyone's life with what I did, because of my hate and resentment towards my brother. They said they wanted me not to talk, and now I should deal with the consequences of alienating their grandson/nephew from them. Now for the top comments. Not today, home. Yikes. This whole thing is a mess, but they should have told him. He is not a kid anymore, and is old enough to handle this information. They lied to him for years. He isn't a kid anymore. Lied to him for so long and so completely that it almost led to him destroying his relationship with an uncle he loved and loved him back enough to take all of the pain on him, foolishly trying to mend the relationship with his dad without having any truthful information about what happened, despite being the product of the thing that caused his uncle so much pain. Must have been hell of a doozy. I think the grandpa being sick is a BS cop-out too. If he is that sick for lying to the grandson, that's his own fault. I would bet he is not actually sick. He is just being a child that refuses to eat, and this messed up family, that is ammo to hurl at Opie. Not today, Hole. They lied to the kid for years, and in doing so, they made you out to be the bad guy. They should have been upfront with him from the beginning. I don't even understand the point of this lie. What does it accomplish? Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my father I will tell his youngest the truth about her birth if he doesn't explain something to her next time she calls me? When I was 13, my father slept with my mom's sister and got her pregnant. After being married to my mom for 20 years and having me, my brother, and sister, it was a hugely traumatic thing for us. My siblings and I refused to have a relationship with our father, not because of his actions alone, but because he always talked about how people who cheat are some of the lowest people out there. How they're disrespectful and cruel, and have no kindness or empathy in their hearts. So the fact he cheated, that he slept with his own wife's sister, his children's aunt, and did it while his wife was going through health worries. She had a cancer scare around that time, showed just how right he was. And not only that, but he was a hypocrite. My father now has a 12-year-old daughter. I've met her 4 times while my siblings have not. After I saw her for the first time 2 years ago, she started to call me and wanted to get to know me. I struggled with this because I don't want a relationship with her, but she's also innocent, and I didn't know how to say that to her without hurting her. She knew about me and my siblings. She knew we were her half-siblings, but she doesn't know our moms are sisters. She doesn't know the story, but she has repeatedly asked why we don't visit more, why I don't come over and spend time with the family, and I always sidestep or change the subject. But it got more and more intense, so I told my father to get her to cut it out a while ago. He ignored me. She told me her parents got back together again and want to get married again. I'm assuming a vow renewal because I don't think they divorced, and she wants us to be a family. Then she asked why I hate our dad, why I hate her mom, why I want to be her big sister. I avoided the conversation and I sent my dad an email telling him that if he doesn't tell her something and get her to stop asking, then I will be honest, and I will make sure she doesn't ask anymore. I told him I don't want to, but he is the parent and this is his job, not mine. He responded that I was cruel to threaten to tell a kid all this. Then his mom, who stopped speaking to me and my siblings after we refused a relationship with him and his daughter, showed up at my mom's to say I was behaving like a disgusting person and should never have spoken to my father like that or threatened an innocent child. I mean, maybe it's wrong to be willing to say it, but regardless, whatever I say is going to come off sounding harsh because I am working so hard to spare her feelings while also not really caring about a relationship with her. And it should be on him. Am I the a-hole? Stop telling your dad to step up. He won't. Just tell her he did some things that you did not like. What they are is not your story to tell. It's his. And whether or not you want to stay in touch with her. Like you said, she is innocent. You need to decide if she is going to be in your life and be firm. Quit leading her on and accepting her calls if you're not going to have a relationship with her. She's 12. If you don't want a relationship with her, why did you see her these 4 times? You're causing harm to her with all this flip-flopping. It's cute that he thinks he has any standing on telling someone they're being cruel to an innocent person. Not the a-hole, and I'm actually gonna take the stance that you tell her flat out. I understand wanting to keep distance from her, but in an unfortunately twisted way, she'll be in a similar situation to what you and your siblings were in, and she will need that support, just as you likely did. It is going to suck for her to be told the truth. There's no getting around it. But I also generally abhor the notion of kicking the can down the road until she's of age. She needs to know. And as much as I truly hate it for you given your feelings about her in this situation, she's going to need you and your siblings. Your father is a manipulative, corrupt, lying cheat. And his daughter needs to know that before she's gaslit into any more years of her life. Once again, not the a-hole. Your father is. I don't think she'll ever have my siblings. They have been very clear they will never want to meet or speak to her. I didn't want to either. I kind of regret not just shutting it all down sooner. I am not the person who could be there for her. Maybe a better version of me could have. I'm just not sure that's me. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother our parents knew all along that he had a child and hid it from him? My brother dated Addie for 2 years. My parents liked her, but they didn't want my brother to marry her, so they were happy about the breakup. 5 months after the breakup, Addie contacted our parents to ask them to tell my brother that she was pregnant because she couldn't get in touch with him. They never told him. Instead, they told her that if my brother was involved, they would make sure he got custody and she would never see her baby again. But that they would provide financial support if she kept this quiet because the child was still their blood. It's obvious which choice she picked. I used to be close friends with Addie before she dated my brother, but she cut contact with me after they broke up since it wasn't a good breakup. We still have mutual friends, so we reconnected about 3 months ago and she told me all of this a month ago. Their son is now 2, and my brother found out 2 weeks ago and was livid. He blamed Addie, it was awful to her, and blamed me for not telling him as soon as I found out. On Sunday, we were having a family dinner, and my dad and brother were strategizing on how he would get us on full-time. I interrupted and told him he couldn't do that to Addie because she acted in fear. My brother exploded at me and was ranting about how she had kept his son from him, and now she would know how that felt, and that I had already shown him where my loyalty lies, since I didn't tell him immediately. My parents were agreeing with him and telling me off too. I got annoyed by their hypocrisy, so I told him the truth about our parents, and now he isn't speaking to them at all, and they're blaming me for it. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Please testify on Addie's behalf if they try to take her child. Your parents are disgusting humans that are making your brother want to. None of this is appropriate. When both parents are capable and willing, it's 50-50, not 100-0. The only way they would get that judgment is by lying and claiming things like substance abuse, endangerment, or mistreatment. Please call them out in court, please. Do this, ASAP. Holy cow, your family's awful. Not the a-hole. Your parents are the worst here. I feel so bad for that kid and stuck in the middle of all this. Should you have told your brother right away? Maybe, But I get that it's an awkward position to be in, as Addie having this child isn't really your information to share. It's hers. And sharing the information about your parents when you did seems like it was to help the child. That's my interpretation anyway. Your parents have no right to be mad at you for outing them on this. Your brother wanting to punish both Addie and the kid by taking the kid away from her? That's so wrong. Give Addie a heads up. Tell her to start looking into lawyers to protect herself and her child. Your parents and brother are a-holes for treating an actual human with actual human emotions as if he's a prize to win in some kind of sick competition against Addie. Your parents are extra a-holes for creating this ridiculous, toxic situation. I'm not saying everyone sucks here because he got put into an impossible position, and because there's not enough information about Addie to know if she's a participant in the sick games or strictly a victim of them. I don't think the brother was as much of the a-hole. He did think she hid it from him on her own volition, and had his parents in his ear convincing him he needed full custody. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom that she's being a pathetic excuse of a mother? My stepsister is having a hard time right now. Her biological mom passed away 2 years ago. Her grades dropped and she didn't get into her dream college. She's still sad about it, but she got into a good college. She didn't have a great relationship with her mother and is super close to my mom, and she's going to therapy. My uncle visited last week. He is an a-hole who likes to tease people. My mom's side of the family is full of really successful people, and some of them do look down on my stepsister because her mom doesn't come from wealthy background. Anyway, he teased her about her college and she didn't react too well. My mom didn't say anything, and then this turd had the audacity to tell my mom that she did as good a job as she could with my stepsister, that there's only so much she could do with people who just didn't have the right background. I could literally see my sister wither when he said that. So I knocked back about him about a son who dropped out of college, and things devolved into an argument between me and my uncle. I know I did the right thing here, especially because it made my sister cry, and she shut herself back into her room again. Then about 3 days ago, Mom said I dealt with the situation poorly, and that I should have taken it like a joke and ignored it. She also told me that I shouldn't start an argument with my family like that, and she hated that I did it. This really pissed me off. She always takes their side whenever they provoke and mock us, and she's never stood up for us properly. I told her that she knew it wasn't a joke, and everyone knew it was not. And by not sticking up for her daughter who has a nasty bout of depression, she's being a pathetic excuse of a mom right now. I know I shouldn't have said that. I was going too far. I don't feel like I really hurt her, but things like this have happened before. She lets her siblings kick us when we are down and it's hurt. And I feel like I'm doing that the same thing right now, kicking Mom when she is down. I feel like a huge jerk. Not today, Hole. I really hate people who use jokes as a way to mask cruel and called for comments. It's only a joke if everyone laughs. If his comments made your sister cry, they definitely should not be taken as a joke. I agree with you. Also, people use brutal honesty as an excuse. There are things better left unsaid. I can't remember who said it, but I think it sums that up pretty well. People who describe themselves as brutal honest are usually more interested in exercising brutality than honesty. Not today, Hole. Tell your uncle that being an a-hole isn't a personality. And your mom should always be ready to defend her daughter. Depression is no joke. It is the hardest thing for some people to get through. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for calling my ex a dictator and planning a second birthday party for our son without him after we agreed to have a joint party? Our son is turning 5 at the end of the month and we always have joint birthday parties. I usually organize the party alone, but this year my ex insisted we plan it together in the name of being fair. Well, that was a huge mistake, because he has dictated everything, and this party's more for him than for our son. The guest list is ridiculous. Our son only knows about 5% of the people he is inviting, and the whole party is going to be one giant production that benefits him more than for the enjoyment of our son. It took our son to see his paternal family a few days ago, and my ex turned up too. They were asking me questions about the party, and I told them to ask my ex because he had done everything himself, so he would know. My ex tried to lie and say he hadn't, and that we had planned things together. I scoffed and said that he had been a dictator the entire time, and I was going to have a smaller party with my family at a later date. So our son knew at least one of us realized his birthday was about him and not about us. My ex was pissed. It didn't help that his parents got on his case about being a dictator. My ex is demanding I don't have the smaller party because it feels like I'm excluding him on purpose, and he wants me to tell his family I exaggerated the dictator comment. I said no to both, so now things are tense. Am I the a-hole? A kid's birthday party where they only know 5% of the people there is not for the kid. You're absolutely right, and that has made it about him. I think you're right to do a second party that is actually about your son. I appreciate their ability to co-parent, but the way exes commandeering the birthday sounds very unpleasant. Maybe going forward you should have separate celebration events or follow the divorce decree. On the other hand, it's great that the ex's family is still warm with Opie. Not today, ho. He is legit trying to dictate that you can't have a second party. Your ex sounds controlling, and it looks like he's using this party to impress others rather than to celebrate your son. It's perfectly fine to have separate celebrations. Your ex also doesn't get to dictate how you celebrate your son's birthday. You may want to move towards more of a parallel parenting model, as this kind of behavior tends not to improve. Do you want every birthday and holiday to be tense?
Update. Am I the a-hole for being uncomfortable with my husband's new friend? Original post. A few months ago, my husband Stephen became friends with this girl Anna. He hangs out with her a decent amount, once a week to every other week, which is reasonable given our work schedules. I, 26 female, have never met her, nor have I been invited to. It's been mentioned that she wants to meet me. However, plans are never made, and I'm not included when he goes. He says he's also hanging out with her boyfriend, but again, I've never met these people. He's been doing a lot for her and gave her our space heater, which I have no problem with. Being helpful or kind is fine, but quite literally every time she has an issue, she calls him to solve it, and he jumps. I asked about donating the Nintendo Switch that we literally never use, it's been sitting in a drawer for years, to my brother Isaac, and he said no because he told Anna she could maybe borrow it sometime, and he can't go back on his word. But he promised an incredibly close friend of mine that she could for sure have our old Xbox as a Christmas gift, and he's fine going back on that, suggesting we donate that instead. Also, every single time we've gotten into a fight since he met her, he's stormed out of the house and gone to her place. He does not return for hours and does not contact me at all while he's gone. I only know where he is because we have iPhones and I can see his location. After making a huge deal about spending Christmas with me, he spent less than 2 hours with me and then went to a party with her that I wasn't invited to and was gone all afternoon and night. I spoke to him about all of these points and said I was uncomfortable, and he swore nothing was going on, but apparently turned right around and told her everything we talked about. Because she's my friend, of course I told her. And A, that makes him seem even more suspicious, like they're getting their stories straight. And B, now it's going to be weird between me and her if we ever meet. Not that I even want a relationship with a woman who runs to my husband every time she has a problem. He has other female friends whom I adore, and he does none of these things with them. So this isn't about me hating other women or anything like that. And I found out the other day that she's single. Apparently, she dumped her boyfriend. Guess who she called first? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Whether he sleeps with her or not, he's not loyal to you, he's not respecting you, and he's at the very least having an emotional affair. Open your eyes, because it can't be more obvious, and you're just ignoring the blatantly obvious. Definitely sounds like an emotional affair at the very least. If OP is okay with all but this one female friend, there's a reason. Gut feelings usually don't lie. If we say you're the a-hole, will you magically be okay with everything? Read your post again, and if you can't spot a red flag, then you're hopeless. I knew what was happening was wrong, but he had spent so long gaslighting me and making me feel crazy and like everything was my fault that I just really needed an outside perspective. He really isolated me from my family and friends, and I didn't have anybody that was on my side at this time. Oh my lord, this is a disaster. He's definitely gaslighting you. Everything you've mentioned is reasonable, and yet instead of discussing it with you and having real conversations about something that his own wife is concerned about, he brushes it off, deflects, or ignores. You can't reason with him because he doesn't want to reason. He wants to have his own way and doesn't want you to ever know that in his heart, he loves this woman more than he loves you. Marriage counseling. There won't be any marriage counseling. I begged for a really long time to do it, and he always had a reason why not to, and only ever says that he'll do it when I am actively telling him I'm done and want to leave. But then has never actually followed through on that. But if you check my post history, you'll see the update to this post, so we are just gonna straight up get divorced at this point. I'm done with the mental, emotional, and verbal abuse. Now for the update. Okay, so the other day, Steven was supposed to see his grandma and then hang out with Chuck, 28 male, and Marvin, 30s male. That was the plan. He was very specific about what he was doing and with whom. He said he was going to go to Chuck's house, and then he, Chuck, and Marvin were going to Delta Pizza to play pool. Steven texted me multiple times confirming that this was still the case. This is just one example. Steven also repeatedly said he wanted to watch a movie with me and would be back early. So when he still wasn't home at 7 p.m., I checked his location just to see if he was on his way back. I literally didn't suspect anything. I just wanted to see if he was on his way and didn't want to call and bug him in case he was still with his friends. When I checked his location, it showed that he was at Anna's place. So I texted him and asked, "Are you with Anna?" And he said no. He insisted that he wasn't with her and hadn't seen her. And I'm like, well, your location shows that you're at her place. He then said he was just going to pop in and say hi. I mapped it. Anna's place is over 20 miles away from where he said he was hanging out. Who's going to drive over 20 miles just to pop in and say hi? I kept saying it was weird. Like, I wouldn't have cared if he had just texted me and said, "Hey, I might pop in and say hi to Anna before I come home." But instead, he waited for me to find out he was there before saying anything. He kept insisting that he never saw her and didn't talk to her, because I texted him before he could even get out of the car. I said, "Well, you still could have texted," and he said I didn't give him a chance, because I messaged him before he got out of the car. I'm like, it was a 20-mile drive. You had plenty of time to tell me you were going over there. Then he got whiny with me and said, I was with Chuck and Marvin literally all day doing exactly what I said we were doing, and I never saw Anna. If you don't believe me, you can ask Marvin or Chuck. And I'm not going to ask them. I'm not that girl. I've never been that girl. I'm not going to call his friends and check up on what he was doing. But I went to dinner with Kara the other night. Marvin is her brother, and she's really good friends with Chuck. I found out that Anna was with them literally all day. Steven picked her up first thing in the morning, brought her over to Chuck's house, hung out with her there, then brought her to Delta Pizza. She was there the whole time that he, Chuck, and Marvin were playing pool. So at 7 p.m., when I checked his location and it said he was at Anna's place, it was because he was taking her home. And he specifically asked Chuck and Marvin to lie to me and say that Anna wasn't there if I asked. So at this point, I don't believe that he's not cheating. But even if he isn't, I don't care anymore because he lied to me again. All he ever does is lie to me, then swear he'll never do it again. And then he does. And I can't spend the rest of my life like that. That is absolutely the last time he will look me in the eye and lie directly to my face. So I'm done. I am filing for divorce. He doesn't know that I know, and I am going to play dumb and keep it that way until I can get my ducks in a row. Any advice would be appreciated. Edit to add, because so many people keep saying it. Rightfully so, I just can't reply to every single comment. I had an STI and pregnancy test. I'm 2 months late, done the morning after I found out. Pregnancy test was negative. Waiting for STI results. The doctor isn't open over the weekend, so I can't expect anything until next week. He's cheating. He's lying to you and having his friends lie to cover his butt. You are worth more than this. Kick him out. Even if he wasn't cheating, he's for sure a liar and a sneak. She doesn't need to prove that he cheats to kick him to the curb. She knows she can't trust him, and that's all she needs to know that they are through. He's probably cheating. He's certainly lying. I would be unable to respect him, and that's it. You can't have a relationship without trust or respect. Get all of the evidence. Texts, deleted texts, DMs, phone records, location info, all of it. The day you have him served, blast them both all over social media and tag his mom. Burn that bridge to ash. As much as I would love to do this, he constantly deletes his text messages. And then he deletes them from the trash, so they're not recoverable. I thought about reaching out to the cell phone carrier, but he has an iPhone and the messages that he was deleting were on iMessage. I do believe that there's probably some stuff on Facebook Messenger, but I don't know how to get into his Facebook account. We don't know if he's having an affair. He's, as you said, deleting all messages, getting his friends to cover for him, and besides confronting Anna, which she would probably lie about anyway, there's not a lot you can do. The biggest thing here is that he's lied to you on multiple occasions. He's being secretive, and he's getting his friends to cover for him. Whether he's having an affair or not, and all signs point to the fact that he is. He's lying to his wife, someone he made vows to, which is a huge red flag and a deal breaker. It's a downhill slide from here. Get your things in order, especially your finances, and file for divorce without telling a soul. Then serve him papers. Let him do what he wants and keep a record of everything moving forward. Also, update us when you serve him. He knows I know now. What? What happened? He texted me to come clean. All he came clean about was hanging out with her, not cheating with her. But he never would have just come to me on his own because he doesn't have an honest bone in his body. I'm guessing someone told him that I know. So I didn't deny it. I said, yeah, I know, and I want a divorce. Next story. Update. Am I the a-hole for not eating the birthday cake my boyfriend got me? Original post. Alright, so my birthday was a couple of days ago, and I asked my boyfriend about a week before to get me a carrot cake. While I know it's not a popular choice for a birthday cake, it's my favorite, and practically the only flavor of cake I like, besides red velvet, but I wasn't feeling it at the time. Keeping in mind that I was going to have a birthday party with my friends, my boyfriend suggested that I get a flavor that people like, which I'd understand maybe if it were a huge party with tons of people, but I know my friends, and I know they wouldn't mind carrot cake at all. I told him that my friends would be fine with carrot cake and to get it anyway. Anyway, fast forward to my birthday. My boyfriend goes and gets the cake from the shop in the afternoon, and I don't get to see it since I'm getting ready. He doesn't mention anything to me about it, so I think nothing of it since I like a surprise. My friends arrive and everything's going great until it's time for the cake to be served. We gather around the table, and everyone sings happy birthday while my boyfriend brings out the cake. And to my horror, I see this big chocolate cake in his hands. I hate chocolate cake. It makes me sick. He knows I hate chocolate cake. My face fell when I saw it, but I obviously didn't say anything at the time. However, I did give my boyfriend a glare or two, which he clearly picked up on since he kept insisting I eat the cake in front of everyone as we were serving it out. Something about that made me angry in the moment, and I refused to try the cake at all. I cut it, blew out the candles, handed it out to everyone, but I didn't try it myself. I don't think the others took huge notice, but once the party ended, I started getting unready when my boyfriend came into our room and was like, "Why do you have to act like a child all the time?" And I'm like, "What the hell?" And he's like, "You had to make a scene just because I didn't get your freaking carrot cake." And he went on about how nobody likes carrot cake, and how I'm spoiled and selfish and looked stupid not eating cake at my own birthday. Then he claimed he couldn't find carrot cake, which is crazy because 1, I've never gone to that shop and not seen carrot cake, and 2, even if there wasn't any, he could have picked any other flavor besides the only one I hate. I told him that, and he just got really upset, like I was the one who started the fight. He started going on about how I was overreacting over cake and how he tried his best to make this birthday good for me, which in fairness is true, since he put a lot of effort into organizing it for me. But honestly, I was just livid then. Now we're still kind of off about it, and neither of us has apologized or anything, but I'm starting to think I did overreact over cake, and I probably should have just eaten it and then talked to him later, but I don't know. Now for the top comments before reading the update. I'm feeling kinda spicy, so I'll just let it out. Why are you living with a man who doesn't give a damn about your request? Celebrate your birthday by kicking him to the curb. I get the feeling that the everyone who doesn't like carrot cake is him. I've been to birthdays that served carrot cake. I have too. Boyfriend doesn't like carrot cake, but couldn't deal on this one day? He had to ruin OP's birthday because his preferences matter more? This man should not be in a relationship. You're the a-hole. Not for any of what you did, and what he did was straight up disrespectful, but for saying you like red velvet and hate chocolate. Red velvet is chocolate. Traditionally, it's Dutch processed cocoa and vinegar or buttermilk, but 99% of modern red velvet is literally chocolate cake with food coloring added. I like chocolate, but the gooiness and over-sweetness of chocolate cake makes me nauseous. Red velvet is way more soft and fluffy, and I love the cream cheese icing. Same with carrot cake. Meanwhile, chocolate icing is just sickening in my opinion. There's a specific type of nice guy that pulls this kind of nonsense to get a reaction. He's telling you he doesn't care about your preferences and angled it to see if you would say something in front of others or not. Now he knows you'll keep his bad behavior private. Get out of there. Not the a-hole. Yes, this guy didn't even put effort in, and he's peacocking, expecting her to thank him. He was digging for an argument. Also the kind of person who will do you a favor and then throw it in your face every chance they get, like you're supposed to keep thanking them into perpetuity. It isn't overreacting. A cake flavor may seem small in the grand scheme, but it's a message your significant other is sending, that your preferences and desires do not matter to them, not even on a day that is designed to be for you, your birthday party. Furthermore, him doubling down on his choice by calling you a child and then projecting onto you that you're selfish because you prefer a different type of cake and didn't want to eat a type of cake you do not like, projection, because he is actually the one being selfish but deflecting that onto you, further shows that you, who you are, don't matter to him, and he will prioritize himself or others over you at every turn. And he will continue, in even bigger ways, to treat you like crap. He also literally could have gotten a carrot cake for you and some other cake. Instead, he only got the other cake. Even if his excuse about the store not having it is true, he could have gone to several other stores or actually ordered ahead of time to ensure you got your carrot cake. The fact that he did none of this and pretty much purposely didn't get you a carrot cake is him literally sending the message that you don't matter to him, at least not beyond however he uses you to validate himself. This is not a good partner. I mean, on the most basic level, everyone knows that a birthday party is for that person, and you get a dessert that person likes. Like seriously, again, everyone knows that. Now for the update 3 months later. Hey, so I know it's been ages, but I just saw a TikTok with this post in it, so I thought I'd share. I did break up with my boyfriend about a week after this happened. It wasn't all to do with the cake situation. Some things happened afterwards which, along with this of course, resulted in me calling it quits. I wonder if he's seen this limau. We fought for a bit over it, and he called me some not so lovely names, but I got over it pretty quickly, and all is well now. Me and my friend went out and got red velvet cake afterwards. And before you guys say it, it's not the same as chocolate. Thanks a lot guys for the support and for knocking some sense into me, and sorry for not giving you all an update. I didn't really want to think about it after we broke up. But yeah, moral of the story, eat cake and don't be fake. Love yous.